Hey everybody, welcome to Maker Paradise, and we are doing our educator series, and we are talking today with Joe Lemay out of Boston, Massachusetts. He's the creator of Rocketbook Wave. It's an incredible project, so I want to introduce the project a little bit, and also, hey, welcome to Maker Paradise, Joe.
Hey, Jay.
So for everyone who's watching the show today, what we're going to go through first of all is really a behind the scenes of a $1 million campaign, which is the campaign that Joe successfully ran on Indiegogo. And he has another live campaign going on as we're recording this on Kickstarter, so if you're intrigued and you want to jump in and get the product and support it, that's a huge benefit as well for the campaign. But today we're here really as a process to educate people about crowdfunding and learn more about it. So before we get into, Joe is going to log into his control panel on Indiegogo and show you sort of what it looks like and what's going on. And he's also going to share his screen and show what worked on the content and what didn't work as well, or how to balance things out. But before we get into any of that, Joe, maybe you could just introduce yourself a little bit. When we talked earlier, what was amazing to me was that you're not a person who has sort of been marketing as a profession. You were working a corporate job and then you left to try something new. So could you just share your background a little bit?
Sure. So, I've been working for a number of years in technology and software, basically building and selling, solutions to businesses, right? Whether it's, speech recognition or Salesforce.com. And, for a good 15 years was, working for a big company. But then I'd always wanted to and been interested in starting a company or building a product from scratch, and always thought I would. And, years and years went by, and I wondered why I hadn't yet. But then, finally I got an idea for something I wanted to work on, and at least an idea that I couldn't get out of my head, and started working on it first as a side project, nights and weekends while I kept my job, and started to, get something that I thought was a viable idea that I could kind of work on and turn into a viable business. And that was actually something that was the precursor to what we're working on now. We've since pivoted off of what I started when I did finally quit my job and started what's now called Rocket Innovations, right? So we can kind of get into as much of that as you want, depending on what you want to get into.
No, that's a great background, and I think just to help people understand, you were working a corporate job, like many people are, and it's a big step. You had an idea, you really thought it was an interesting idea, and you had to do it in your spare time, weekends and nights, and so you kind of were, raising your family. You're saying you have like 3 kids. And so your dad,
yeah, 3 kids and a wife, and God bless my wife, who is really, it's really hard to do this without the support of family and people having your back, essentially. So it's been, fortunately, my wife's been totally on board and supportive the whole time. So I have a lot to thank for her.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to know that a regular guy with a regular job, working part-time, can come up with an idea and then go from that to now having a successful $1 million campaign. I mean, that is actually quite important, because for a lot of people,
yeah,
they might think you had this huge team behind you from the very first day, a lot of investors or whatever, and you actually just did it step by step. So before we get into the back end and you start sharing your screen and all that, let's just get one other piece of the story I think is really helpful, which is you said that you didn't succeed right out the gate. And can you just explain a little bit about what happened the first time, and then we'll jump into the next campaign. And your product,
yeah,
just so
sure.
People know, your product is what? I'll let you explain it. What is your project?
Okay. So what we are having some success with is it's called Rocketbook Wave. It's essentially a special kind of paper and pen notebook. It's just paper and pen, really, and it has a special app that goes with it. So just about as fast as you can hold your phone over your Rocketbook and flip through it, you're scanning in your pages, and it's cleaning them up and sending them to particular places in the services you already used. So I've got 7 little go-to spots, 7 little symbols on each page, and so when I cross off, let's say, the diamond symbol, I have it configured so it goes into my ideas notebook in Evernote. Or if I, cross off, let's say, the horseshoe symbol, that might go to a special place in my email inbox or in Google Docs, right? And so it's just a very simple way to help you organize your handwritten notes and make sure that they're all captured and safe and organized in the cloud. And the kicker is, now that you have all of your notes, they're safe, in the digital services you already use. Instead of just having to buy a new notebook, you can reuse the Rocketbook Wave multiple times, because when you use these special heat-sensitive pens that you can get nearly anywhere, they're friction pens by Pilot. You can get them on Amazon. They have heat-sensitive ink, and they turn clear under heat. The eraser actually creates a little bit of heat, and that turns the ink clear, so it's a really nicely erasing pen. So we sort of repurposed this functionality, and we made the first microwaveable notebook. So the whole notebook will clear in the microwave, and that's having that reusability of the book in the app that captures your notes kind of come together like peanut butter and jelly, and people seem to be responding to it.
I mean, it's pretty brilliant. I was explaining, somebody was asking, what is crowdfunding? What kind of projects do people do? Is it legit? A friend of mine who doesn't really know much about crowdfunding, and I was saying, well, what if you had a notebook that you could reuse? What if you had a notebook that you could actually scan? What if it would, like, every page was automatically ordered? They're like, I would get it. And I'm like, yeah, this is it. Is that one of your prototypes that you have in your hand? You want to just show it?
This is actually what we call the Rocketbook 1, and by that, this is the single-use Rocketbook. So you'll notice the metal coil here, and the big do not microwave aspect of it right here. Let's see if we have any other. We've got plenty of prototypes here. Right, this is a prototype of the Wave.
And does it have the symbols on it? Do you have the symbols at the bottom on the page?
Might be a little. Here's a good one. I don't know if you can see the symbols.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
So you'll notice a little QR code here. So computer vision is knowing the number of the pages and some other things, and we're detecting if you've marked this. You'll notice the pages have these nice borders, so you can put it down on a messy desk, and it'll see it and scan it, which might be a problem for other just kind of regular old scanning things that are just scanning in paper. So we just made a book that's really built very purposefully with the app to make it super simple to capture those notes and organize them for you.
Yeah, you didn't overcomplicate it, and what I really like about it is that you've focused on functionality, and you focused on giving people something that they would actually be able to get away from their computer and go out to the cafe and use it. And I really think it's quite smart and brilliant. Actually, I love it, and I like that you're a software person, so you had to come up with the app, and you had to figure out how to organize it and make it useful. And I think that's one of the there are two critical things that you've done, which is really smart, and innovative, is get the stuff on the notebook into the cloud, and then also make the notebook reusable. Those two things together, and giving them the auto organization methods, almost three things really that are great: the scanning, the smart scanning, the auto organization, and the reusability.